Welcome to the podcast designed to fuel your success in selling technology solutions. I'm your host, Josh Lopresto, SVP of Sales Engineering at Teleris, and this is Next Level Biz Tech. Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're talking about Customer Experience 2.0, and more importantly, the hot topic, how AI is reshaping the CX landscape. Today on with us, we've got the wonderful, the amazing Mr. Ken Westermann, leader for Partner Solution Engineering at Zoom. Ken, welcome on, man.
Hey, Josh, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Ken, give us the down and dirty in your background. How the heck did you get here? Where did you start out? Were you folding beach towels and then you said tech is where I want to be, or did you know what you wanted to do, and how'd you get here?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It wasn't really beach towels, but I was going to graduate school at University of Wisconsin, and in 2006, this small little startup company called Thinking Phone Networks approached me and said, "Hey, would you ever consider being an SE project manager, PS, MS kind of guy?" They were looking for a hybrid person. I happen to know Steve Kokinos and Derek, fairly well, or at least little well, and so I thought, you know what, let's get my master's and head out to Boston. And so I ended up there as the number 6 employee, which, back in '06, SIP was still a pretty non-common conversation to have with people. They liked it sitting in their closet, and this whole cloud thing wasn't really what they were used to. 13 years I was there, grew from being that hybrid person all the way through when I left. I left as the channel leader, so I got to create the channel program for them. I got to run marketing and SE and PS, and phenomenal way to see something grow. But like a lot of things, like Kenny Rogers said, you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them, right? And so 2019 came, and some of the old timers had left, and so I thought it was time to take a little bit of a break. Took about 2 months off, and then Zoom came knocking at my door and said, "Hey, we're looking for someone. We are going to launch our channel program at Channel Partners in 2020. That, of course, didn't happen because of the pandemic. But would you want to come over and help build out a channel SE program?" And so I said, "Sure, why not?" I've only been in startup companies before, but Zoom to me had only been public for a year. And the way it was pitched and the way it actually went down is it's still very startup mentality. And so I took a chance, and I just had my 4-year anniversary in April, so a month and a half ago, and it has been one hell of a roller coaster ride, let me tell you.
Love it. Congrats. Yeah, time flies. Holy cow. I can't believe it's been 4
Yeah,
years
it
already.
definitely does.
Man. Okay, so let's talk about. I think Zoom obviously has incredible brand recognition, and I'm sure people's first default is the collaboration platform. But we're going to get into some of the really cool, crazy AI stuff here in a little bit. But just walk us through a little bit about your role right now at Zoom, and really just some of these core products and how you see them standing out from the competition.
Yeah, our role at Zoom is, as I envisioned it with our leadership, was really to kind of engage, empower, and encourage our partners to learn more about Zoom and position Zoom in other ways. When I started, funny enough, I think there were a total of 3 products at Zoom when I started. And of course, we're ubiquitous with meetings, right? The pandemic truly helped us to get that name recognition, and phenomenal for us. But really, Zoom is a lot more than just that, right? We have so much more as a platform that's really out there today for partners to leverage. If you hadn't heard, Zoom has a phone platform, and we have, I think we announced on our earnings call, like 7.8 million seats sold or something to that effect. So a really great opportunity there. But really, it is that platform play. Zoom has prided itself over the last my 4 years of being here in innovating really quickly and trying to drive that. So for my team, it's really about how do we keep getting out to the partner community what we're doing next, and kind of where it's going, and kind of where we're trying to shape, where we envision shaping the UCCC field for years to come.
I love it. Yeah, you guys are doing a phenomenal job from an investing perspective, right? I think that's great. That's great for everybody to see that you guys are with technology changing so fast, you're changing right there with it, and adding all these great products, of which we'll get into here in a little bit. So we'd love to see that, and the channel loves that for sure. Let's talk about let's go lessons learned here. So if you flash back 10, 15, however long you want to flash back here, what's a what's a really hard lesson that you've learned, or something that you picked up from a mentor, just something you can share, right? How can we summarize that?
I would say the biggest thing I've ever learned in my life is no matter what your title is at a job, you're still an employee. For me, Steve and Derek, look, they were co-founders, very successful guys who had done this was, I think, their fourth startup company together, Thinking Phones. But you know, it never surprised me to see Steve and Derek sitting in the support pen or getting on a sales call or doing whatever it took to ensure that everyone was successful around them. Their mantra was, we're all here together. Like we're doing this together, and that's the way it's gonna be. And I loved it, right? I mean, I'd be on calls with Steve on a sales call, and then all of a sudden, we'd be overseas, and then a minute later he'd leave that meeting and hop on a support call, and then start triaging that support call for someone back in the States, because that's what he believed. And his idea was, I need to get your big rocks out of the way so that you can be successful as an employee. And I really tried to take that with me ever since, right? I would never ask someone on my team to do something that I wasn't comfortable doing myself or felt that I could do myself. And and it's really weird to say, but like Eric Yuan is kind of the same way, right? As a leader, he's all about ensuring that he gets the job done for us, which I think is absolutely phenomenal. And but for me, that was a really big lesson learned from Steve and Derek, and something that I've now, 19 years after I started with them, it's been part of how I look to interact with my work environment, but also at home. And I'm on nonprofit boards, kind of the same way. I believe in that, fully.
Love it. It's a good one. All right, let's talk about some CX challenges, right? So we're talking about CX 2.0, AI, and kind of how that's shaping everything. So you guys are right dead smack in the middle of this. So question being, how has Zoom been so quick to productize AI in this CX realm? Talk to us about the work you guys are doing there.
I think the quick to productize, right? I mean, look, AI has been around for a long time, but it really came into fruition, 18 months ago, give or take, right? When Chat GPT kind of launched and came out there. But Zoom has really been thinking about where AI and where technology is going to go for a very long time. If you think about even the advent of Zoom, right? 13 years ago, 12 years ago, Eric was on that cutting edge of making video communication simple and easy to leverage. And so when it comes to AI, it's kind of the same mindset, right? For him, it's how do we take our current products and then wrap AI around them so that it makes it easier to leverage them and you can be more productive in your environment. So he's been thinking about that for quite some time. And if you think about it, right, AI has been kind of woven into what we've been doing for a while. And as a cloud company, it makes it even easier, right? Because you can easily, weave that into your product line. But for us, that platform now is just, fully interlaced with what AI is, and it's been kind of there the whole time.
So let's talk about that. Let's go deeper. I mean, we could probably talk about 20 of them, but we're going to, for the sake of time, pick on three here. So we've seen a few recent products come out. Let's go line by line here. So there's some new cool stuff in there, Flowcharts, Mindmaps. Talk to me about that and kind of AI Companion and how that all works, right? A lot of people might not even know that you've got this capability yet.
Yeah. So, just thinking about like the flow charts and the mind maps, right? So Zoom launched, we call it whiteboards, and we launched whiteboards, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago. And how AI works there, right? Look, we all get stumped trying to create something, whatever that something happens to be. And, just yesterday I was at an event, and in kind of real time, I said, how do I improve my golf swing in the whiteboard? And so it literally created this 17-step process for me to create, or sorry, to improve my golf swing. Some of those steps I was like, oh, I didn't even think about how that would help me to improve it. And it just that quickly helped to create that. Whether you want to look in a sticky note form or a RACI chart or a SWOT analysis or a flow chart, whatever it is, it's there to kind of help just kickstart where you think you want something to go. And so for us, it's kind of a fun demo yesterday, but really every day, how do you use it? My team and I constantly are trying to think about, how do you help a customer create a flow chart for a call flow for this type of a queue or this type of environment? Look, if you're stumped, it's a really quick, easy way to just go in there and just literally type in create flowchart for X, generate, and within 5, 10 seconds, it's there for you. And then like with all AI, you have to teach it and train it, right? So is this right or wrong, et cetera? And it gets smarter over time. But it was it's a pretty fun tool to leverage and use, and you can get kind of creative with it.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, if I look at kind of the work we all do, right, on a daily basis. We're talking with partners, we're talking with customers, we're trying to solve business challenges, and there is just sometimes it's just drawing it out helps. What I like about this feature is I like that the whiteboard gets people to use flowcharts and mind maps more, and the flowcharts and mind maps get people to want to use and realize, I didn't even really play with the virtual whiteboard before, right? So they draw each other in, but I like that kind of breaking down barriers of, hey, have you guys thought about it like this, solving the problem such as this? And so I think this sells itself, right? You ask it one question, and somebody's going to go, my gosh, I didn't know I needed that, but now I can't. I have to have that, right?
Yeah, it's all about that collaboration. I mean, it's the ability to, be able to collaborate with myself, and then you can come on an hour later and do something to it, and then, a teammate in Japan can work on it, 10 hours after that, and it's still all available to you. And just a great way to share the content and your ideas and really keep things going in a truly hybrid global environment.
All right, let's go. Let's go number two. You guys have got something out there called Work Vivo. So we saw something about Meta discontinuing their whole workplace engagement platform and saying we're going with Work Vivo as the preferred partner here. So that's huge news, right? When somebody makes an announcement like that. But break it down for us. What is Work Vivo?
I'll give you the marketing side first, right? Work Vivo is the digital heartbeat of any company, and that is very marketing driven, but really that is the truth, right? The pandemic sent everybody home, right? So 4 years ago, we were all forced to work from home, and then what? A year, 2 years ago, companies said, nope, you're going to come back to the office. People revolted. And it's probably, if we get to 50% back in the office, that'd be a big number, but maybe achievable. But Work Vivo really is that ability to kind of ensure that people have this great employee experience via a platform. And to me, that's really what it is, right? We use chat every day and we use all these other tools, but Work Vivo is a chance for me to connect with people who I might not connect with on a regular basis. And that could be anywhere from our CEO all the way down to someone on my team or on someone else's team. And for me, that's really how I use it every day. I log into it in the morning to see what's going on. Are there any, global announcements that Zoom is pushing down? We're doing this called Tour to Zoom bike race in June to raise money, and so that's a big part of our Work Vivo now. And so it's these teams that are all together chatting with each other and fun things like that, and that makes me feel connected to something. It makes me feel connected that Eric Yuan recommended a book about 2 months ago, and in his little chat, people were commenting, "Oh, I bought the book," and every time someone made a comment, he would at them and comment back to them, which to me is also very personable. And it's a great chance just to, I think, have that connection. As I think about like where the future is, right? My mom retired a couple of years ago, but my niece is now in the workforce at 23. That Gen Z is coming in, and they really want that connection to a company, right? That's their, yeah, salary is important, but that connection to feeling like they belong is really what they're looking for. And Work Vivo to me is a way to kind of create that belonging within a company that's not just this chat that say, hey Josh, how's it going? Great, have a good day. It's an actual true heartbeat of what's happening in your company that people can feel truly connected to it.
Yeah, I like that. You bring up a good point. After you've been at an organization for a number of years, you just understand the full ecosystem, right? And you know who you need to reach out to. You feel as connected as you need to feel connected, but you're empathetic to those kind of coming on board of going, oh my gosh, like there's 10 years of history here that this brand new person that didn't even come from this space it's got to be really hard for them to feel connected in some instances. So I love that. It just breaks down walls. I think that's huge. Awesome product there.
Yeah, it's really really interesting, and I think it's going to help, especially with the hybrid environment, right? I mean, we're advocating for hybrid still, and this does help to keep people connected to something they're probably never going to see, right? Or maybe see
Yeah.
once every 6 months, right, in office, and
Yeah.
it's a great way to have that feeling.
All right, let's talk about this one. Blew my mind. Right, so we just spent a good clip of time with your folks and Revenue Accelerator. So talk to me about what is Revenue Accelerator and how does this service, how does it help sales teams transform all these customer conversations into revenue?
Yeah, back in the day, as a leader or manager, you got to maybe audit or listen to 3 to 5% of the phone calls that were happening from your sales force. And that was a lot. And you were able to garner some information and data from that. Well, with our revenue accelerator, all of these calls now are being they're being transcribed and listened to, and so now that ability is there for the managers to go in and understand how great Ken did at closing Josh, or inversely, maybe we didn't do a good job closing you, and so what can we glean from that? And then on the surface is just kind of the beginning. It gives you things like what I don't like looking at sometimes is like my talk speed. I, from the Midwest, tend to talk really quickly. Well, it kind of helps me understand, okay, I want to be in the 110 to 130 words a minute frame. That's really good. How many filler words am I using to complete a sentence? My longest spiel. Do I have empathy when I'm listening and talking to you? All of those things are there for you as a user, I see, to understand, but also as a supervisor, I can go in and say, hey Ken, let's maybe talk about not using so many filler words or something to that effect. But it also gives you insight into keywords, right? Maybe I want to know during a call that you and I had how many times you brought up a competitor. So I can then go in and look to see how many times you said competitor A or competitor B or C. And maybe that's why we didn't close the deal. Maybe that was part of it. We need to refine our pitch or something to that effect. But it also it takes out the guesswork, right? You're able to leverage within your CRM to say, hey, I mean, if you and I are both on a call, and as an engineer and a salesperson, we may have totally different views on how that call went. I may think, man, I'm going to close this deal tomorrow and it's going to be great. And you may be like, Ken, there is no way on God's green that's going to close. But this takes the guesswork out, right? Because now I can go in and we can, as a ZRA tool with your CRM, we actually can bump that from, say, a phase 2 to a phase 3 or something like that within your med pick process, or back to a 3 to a 2 because we think it really went bad.
Yeah.
And then your boss can then go in and look to see, right? So it takes that ambiguity and guesswork out of it from a reporting standpoint, and it really helps to drive, I think, better just accountability within that sales process. And inversely, it could be the same thing for a support person, right? Maybe you're looking to take support calls. This also helps out with that standpoint too. So I think it can be used on both sides. Mostly it's that revenue accelerator kind of concept for sales,
Yeah.
but it could be used inversely for inbound calls to close some kind of a support issue down as well.
Yeah, what a couple thoughts here, and then maybe I want to add to this or hit you with another question on this one that you maybe think of. I hope what everybody sees here is this CX offering that you guys have is constantly filling out, and you guys are being so smart too about, you're not just saying we got AI, like we're adding it for the sake of AI. It's truly productized. You've got quantifiable value props. You've got quantifiable ROI. I love that use case. I think Revenue Accelerator is going to be huge. And the thought you made me bring up is, okay, if I'm a partner listening to this, and I want to go talk to my customers, my prospects about this, is there a good question or two that you like to draw out to find out, oh, okay, maybe this is a fit. Maybe I bring Zoom in here. What do you ask to kind of draw some of those out based on, the last couple of products we talked about, Revenue Accelerator, whatever you want to tap that on?
I mean, for me, look, being on the SE side of things, I want to know more about like peeling that onion back, right? So for me, I'm looking at, what are you doing today, and what do the outcomes you expect, like what are the outcomes you expect for that to happen, right? How are you trying to grow your business? So for me, it's more about, you know, why are you coming to Zoom or coming to any vendor in the first place, right? Like, what is your problem and what are you trying to solve for that problem? If I think about Work Vivo, for instance, okay, well, maybe the problem and the questions are around, your employee retention and your employee training. Are you constantly having this cycle of employees come and go from your business? Well, that could be part of it, right? How do you get more empathy with them? Well, do you have any tools internally that help grow that community and that camaraderie? And if the answer is no, then Work Vivo, with Zoom could be a great option for you. For Revenue Accelerator, it's, look, how are you working and engaging and closing your business, right? Are you trying to close half of your calls? Well, if so, great. What tools do you have to get there? Are you not closing half of your calls? Okay. How do we improve that? How do we start to see and get everybody to be equitable? So for me, it's about trying to peel back that onion little by little and really, look, Zoom is this massive platform. We have lots of services and products you can sell. I just want to help you solve one or two problems today, and then let's land and expand and kind of move from there. But for me, it's about trying to understand what is the problem and how do I try to help drive a better outcome for you for that problem. And hopefully, like a lot of our customers, right? They come in asking for Zoom phone, but they leave with our workplace or they leave with phone and rooms and something else. So they've left with three or four products versus just the one they came asking for.
I like it. Let's talk about a surprising win. Any moments where you kind of walked into this and thought, okay, I'm going to be able to solve this with one product, and you just blew the customer's mind and said, okay, we delivered a lot more than we planned on before we went into this call.
It's very cliche to say, but like I hear all the time from partners and customers, oh my gosh, I never realized that Zoom could do XYZ, that Zoom even had, fill in the blank for a product, right? Um, I will say though, and I was actually just at the Major League Baseball headquarters about a month and a half ago, and their story to me still really resonates and sticks out for me, right? They a partner brought them in, brought them over to Zoom. We were talking. They really had, one thing, right? They wanted to make one thing better, and that was the fan experience for baseball. But they didn't really know what that meant. And so for them, it was like, well, how do we enhance the fan experience? Can we enhance it by giving them a sneak peek into the bullpen or into the replays? And and so that was kind of why they came. Like, let's just figure out this meetings, like how can we leverage your video technology to do that one thing? And over the course of multiple meetings over a 6-month window, it went from, hey, we can not only improve the fan experience with this, giving them a peek into the bullpen and replays, but also we can increase the fan experience by the way we sell tickets, the way we engage with them, how we're leveraging our contact center, which they're rolling out, like all of these things that they again didn't realize, right? But now it allows them to go deeper in that fan experience and make sure that the fans, are getting the best, bang for their dollar, right? Whether they're sitting in the ballpark and they bought tickets through some service, or they're sitting at their home watching replay while eating that hot dog, that is really what's important in Major League Baseball. And so for me, that story just, it just resonates so well because there are so many customers that, again, it's that, hey, I want to do one thing, but then that one thing kind of expands out when they see all that Zoom can do and offer.
Love it. And then I have to ask then, what is your MLB team for those that want to know?
I grew up in Chicago and live in Chicago, and I am a Cubs fan. Although I will say, 15 years in Boston, I did, and I still actually have a Red Sox hat over here. We had tickets to the games as a company, and so I used to go to a lot of the games. But I've been a Cubs fan my whole entire life. My mom brought me up on them, and yeah, it has been my that's my team.
There you go. I love it too. And fellow Midwesterner here. Growing up in that neck of the woods, you do get a little spoiled from a sports perspective. Growing up in the Jordan era. I mean, the Cubs victories came later, but we all waited and we knew the time would come. But man, there's just so much good stuff around there. Great place to grow up from a sports mecca perspective. Love that. And you can't go wrong with
Sadly,
Boston.
the past couple of years haven't been that great, but I had Boston for those in between years, and so I saw a lot of championships there. And But yeah, back here, I'm rooting for the Cubs every day still. So.
All right, good enough. Let's you guys see you see a lot of data. You talk to a lot of customers. What are what do you see? Is there any kind of common threads you see customers complaining about? Like, we're all trying to solve this problem or that problem. Anything there just for kind of partners to be aware of common things you guys are hearing?
I think for us, it really, what we hear a lot of is I have so many products and applications, and there's so much training that has to go on, and there's just so much confusion around, how do we get this new employee to understand all 8 tools that we have, or 10 or 15, right? I think maybe you guys even said one time the average is like 7 tools per company. So, a lot of tools to use. How do we get them all to combine? I mean, look, Zoom has that same problem, right? We have a lot of different sales tools as well. The good thing, though, is that Zoom embeds into all of those tools. And so, we have that ability to either have them embedded into us or vice versa with our open APIs. So that helps to alleviate some of the pain. But for us, those are the biggest customer complaints that we hear every day is just, man, how do we solve this big problem and get people to be more efficient in what they're doing? And, look, I'm not naive to say Zoom is the one-stop shop for everything. I realize it's not going to be the case, but if we can get you from 8 or 10 applications down to 3 or 4, and Zoom is at the middle of that, I'm pretty excited, and I think your employee base would be pretty excited as well.
I agree. Yeah, less to manage. It goes along with the IT folks constantly being pushed to manage more with less or the same resources, those kind of things. So I love that. It's a
Yeah.
good point you bring up there. Okay, so I want to get deep into a case study here. So walk me through an example. I know you guys have seen a lot of complex customers. Tell me what the environment was. What are some of the tools they had? What was the business problem? And then what did that tech stack look like after that? Kind of get me into the weeds on that.
Sure. So we signed a company called Gainsight about a year, not even a year ago, a global company of about 1,200 people. And they came to Zoom because they were trying to solve this uh, multimedia, but for meetings application problem where they had 5 different AI tools that were summarizing all these conversations globally, and they were really concerned about security, but also just training people which tools to use, where was it going, and so, but like with any good partnership, our partner and our AE came in together and said, okay, well, we can solve that, but what else do you guys have that you're looking for? And again, they had some competitors that were out there for a chat tool, for a phone tool. I think they had about 8, 9, like you said, right? The average is 7, 8, 9. They had that 8, 9, 10, applications. And so, coming to Zoom, it was let's solve one need, but Zoom was able to solve multiple needs for them, right? Being a multinational company, having now one phone system to support them, along with one meeting system to support them, with the AI behind it, really gave them that flexibility for their employees. And then it became more of a let's talk about the roadmap. Where are we going to go? Where are we taking things? And so for them, that sparked a lot of conversation around features and products. Again, things that they didn't know that we offered, that they were thinking, oh, hey, maybe we could leave this type of application and go somewhere else, especially knowing it's all baked into the platform. So for them, that tech stack, they wanted to add something to it, and instead we actually took things away from it and made it more consolidated for them, and giving them, I think personally, a much better application and much better tools for their employees to use on a global basis.
I love it. There's good common themes here. If for anybody that's listened to all of these, the thought is people are using a lot of tools. Business problems just seem to, as you keep peeling the onion back to your point, we find that they have more and more tools, more and more needs, and there's this how do I manage and maintain all of that? So if you take all of that together and you look at kind of the advice for partners as we wrap up, final couple questions here. If I'm going to get deeper into some of these conversations, or I just want to expand my knowledge of what you guys have that's possible, where do you steer me to that? Where do I go? Where do I learn more? What's the best place for me to kind of garner some knowledge on this?
I mean, again, SEs, right? We're very tactile people. For me, it's about using the tool, right? I can read everything I possibly want to read somewhere, but I like playing with it and being able to touch it, feel it, and see it. Zoom does offer a NFR program for our partner community. So, whether you are working, with talented people, on your team, Josh, or somewhere else, connect with one of my SEs or one of our CAMs, and we can get you into the program to learn more. Our partner portal has a vast array of trainings and documentation and things like that too. And I wouldn't say don't start there, but again, as someone who's technical, I much prefer to play with it and get in the weeds and see what I can break and fix and know it that way, because then I'm going to be probably more apt to be able to answer questions around where technology is, how it's going to, solve those problems that that partner or customer may be having and trying to solve.
It's good. Good. Love that reference. Love the backend that you guys have, and love the NFR program. Can't double down enough. Get your hands wet. Get in there and play. Great advice there. All right, Ken. Final thoughts. So you guys are right at the epicenter of CX. You're staring down the barrel of the future. Where do you see this thing headed for the future of CX, the customer experience? What kind of innovations are you most looking forward to here?
I mean, my crystal ball is a bit hazy, I suppose. I haven't won the lottery yet, so it's, but I would honestly say, like, look, CX. I heard someone say this about a month ago, right? We're kind of in that third wave of what CX is or where it's going now, right? That first wave was sitting in your closet, inbound calls only, and you weren't doing much with it. The next one is this, proper CX where you've got technologies in the cloud starting to blend things together. And I think honestly that total experience, or that TX, I've heard people call it, really is going to be what starts to bridge a lot of these technologies together, right? That UC, CC, CRM, but it really makes it this seamless, personalized experience for the employee, the customer, but also the brand. I mean, look, we all serve, I serve a customer, but that customer is serving a brand, or they are a brand. And so really it's about, where does that brand want to go and grow? And for that brand, it's about increasing loyalty, increasing customer satisfaction, increasing better sales. Those are all really important things. And I think, each journey is really personable. And so, it's how do you want to connect with that brand, and where do you want to take that? The omni-channel concept is there today, and it's, 5, 6, 7 different areas from an omni-channel standpoint. But what's the next thing that gets added to that omni-channel? I certainly don't know, but I think as a vendor, you need to be able to have that ability to have the right tools in place, right? So as a trusted advisor or as a partner, I think you need to, have your eyes open to the fact that, again, not to pick on my poor mom, but, my mom is that person who wants to pick up the phone and call someone to get an answer. I would much rather send you a text or chat you on, on your URL that way, because my time is more valuable than my mom's time. So, I think those journeys are there, but, for me, it really is just having that ability to craft that total experience. And again, I couldn't tell you, right, like where it's going to end up, but for me, that's what makes it really exciting, because nobody was talking about AI 18 months ago, and now that's the big rave. Who knows what those next 2 letters or 4 letters or 10 letters are going to be, but really, I think Zoom is on that cutting edge, and I think, the people that see that and realize that are the ones that are going to be the most effective, I think, when it comes to solving their customers' needs in the future.
Love it. All right, man. A lot of questions, a lot of good stuff in there. What I hope everybody gathered here is a lot of great products, a lot of things you might not know that Zoom did, but how much investment, how you guys are expanding. Phenomenal job on productizing. Love what you're doing in AI. So, Ken, thanks for coming on, man. Great stuff.
Thanks for having me, Josh. I appreciate it. Good luck out there, partners.
All right, everybody, that wraps us up for today. As always, don't forget, wherever you're tuning in from, Spotify, Apple Music, go subscribe. You'll get these. They drop every Wednesday, and that wraps us up for today. So big shout out, Ken Westermann, leader for Partner Solution Engineering at Zoom, Customer Experience 2.0. I'm your host, Josh Lopresto, SVP of Sales Engineering at Telarus.
Next Level BizTech has been a production of Telarus Studio 19. Please visit Telarus.com for more information.